So the face on the cabinets had underneath the sink, is what I've been told, is not fitting, and it sure was not fitting. So what had happened? We got in here, and first of all, these are the oak face cabinets from like Home Depot and Lowe's, and they are definitely oak face and not oak anything else. This is particle board, and you can see what happened down here years ago. Harry homeowner had himself a leak, and well, it deteriorated the inner shelf. Inner shelf is supposed to come in this hole, and this hole. And he's got this best he could do in there, and it was run all the way out here, and then right here in the face of the cabinet, you can see he put a nail to try to hold it up, which is not the right thing to do because you don't want nail holes. Although that one was hidden, you don't want nail holes on the front of your cabinet. So what do? They put it all together like IKEA, and each board, just like in, you know, if you were to build one without nails, you use gravity and friction to keep it together. This slides in here just like IKEA, right? Just like a board would slide up in here in this slot. And then it keeps itself all together by having slots the whole way around and up and down, right? And then in the corner, they've got this nifty little plastic brace that's supposed to hold the thing together. And they've got some wood glue up in here in this crack, but not really great. So what I've done, take a look at this cracked up corner piece. And they've also run a drywall screw through here to try to keep it over attached to this other cabinet. And you can see that this corner piece is all busted up. And in a second, I've got it all propped up now. I've put it all back together to where it actually fits in the slots. That's all I did while you guys weren't here. So it all fits in this slot, all these slots. And I've got it propped up with a hammer. And I'm going to need another shim. So here it is, propped up with a hammer. And Harry homeownering it myself. So the idea is to get this oak face up to support the stone, whatever that stone might be. And it runs really tight up in here, and then over on this side you can see where it's come down a little bit, but I'm about to shim it up. See that little teeny tiny bit? And I'm going to take something that I found in the shed. Unfortunately, at one point was a decent ruler. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use this as my corner. I'm just going to glue that in there, just like that, and then I can have something to glue it to the other side and keep it actually in place without any rotten wood and without any nails in my front. So right now I've got it tapped up with a hammer. I'm going to get some shims going on, and I'm just going to glue that in there, and I'll probably show you how it comes apart. So the first thing I did was open up my Gorilla wood glue and pulled that booger out of the tip. Right, now we can actually get some glue through it. Okay, now I'm going to pull it all apart. You might have said before, like, hey James, why don't you show us how you took it apart before you took it apart? Well, I just didn't. I figured you'd know, like here's the door. I just took the one screw out, took this side off. Here's the door laying here now. And being careful on my vinyl because I just patched that. This is my shim. Nice flat shim. Somebody busted up a ruler out in the garage, but I'm going to put that up under there, and it's going to bring me my last smidget of space. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and I'll take this out. I'll show you what's going on here and what I'm going to try to attempt to do. This is again up inside the cabinet, and let's see if we can get a good. So this board and this board are all put together. So let me see if I can get some light on here. Maybe not. Okay, well, whatever. I can't get any light on there, but here it comes. Here we go with that's my toe. Here we go. So here's this bracket. don't know if you can see it. Stop. Okay, now we're talking. So there's that corner bracket, all right? Here's where that piece comes together. You see right here is the bottom. It's the bottom of this piece, and I wanted it to match the bottom of this piece, all right? When we shim it up, it will. And we're going to take this out. We're going to take it apart. All right, see how that comes apart there? And that piece of particle board, ignore that screw that they put in there. We're going to put that in this slot after we glue it, and we're going to shim it all up. And that's why I had it all shimmed up before, because now I know how much shimming I need to do to get that in there correctly. And we're going to shim that up. After we get some glue in there, we're going to pop it back in there. See, it doesn't quite fit, so I'll have to wrestle it back in there once I get some glue on it. And I might also probably put these corners that I made. Just all I did was took a piece of garden stake and cut it so that it could act the same way that this corner is going to act. Let's get some glue in there and prop it back up. Okay, so although this is hanging, it's still connected on this side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it out as much as I can. I'm going to get my glue. See if you can see. I'm just going to get the nozzle of my glue in there. Where is it? There we go. I'm going to get my nozzle of my glue in here and squeeze some glue all the way up and down the crack, and then we'll push the outside facing against the rim. Alright, so I did manage to get a really good bead on that one side. I'm just going to slip it in that crack and shim it up. Alright, watch for glue dripping out the bottom. And just gonna get in here and get in here like this, and I'll start at the very bottom and work my way all the way up. So here's the bottom. Alright. Now I'm gonna take a straight screwdriver like this one and go to the outside. Oh, look, I think it popped in, huh? I'll go to the outside, and between the two of them, it has popped itself in. So, with it popped in on the outside, I'm going to take my screwdriver. What I'm doing, very carefully, up in here, you can use a flat edge or a putty knife or whatever. And all I'm doing is getting it to go in here in this, getting it to come on over to meet this crack the whole way. I gotta wrestle it in there, so I'm gonna put the camera down. Alright, so I am using a rubber mallet as a shim just because I don't want to goof up the floor. I can't seem to get that seam to close. So I'm gonna I've got it in down here. I got it propped up with the rubber mallet so that it holds it at least on that line, and up in here still I'm working on it. So I'm gonna climb way in here and see what's going on, if I can see which side needs to be pushed. Alright, so oh man, you see that screw up there? I hope I ain't trying to unloosen that. But look, let's try to get this in here just to guide itself up. One little piece at a time. Alright, so with a really good smack to the left and then one up, I can see right here that my seam is where it needs to be, flush with the other cabinet. That means that this is seated in here. We'll get a look at it in a second. Okay, so that means that this is seated in here. Yep, pretty good. So I'll give it a whack to make sure that it's in this way. And then see that little gap right there? I'm going to just prop that up a little bit more. Hopefully by sticking a shim under it. And yes, I'm using a ruler as a shim. Alright, so there you go. You know, if it works. Is it a dumb idea? Here we are, right up against where it should be. Like it was from the factory. Alright? And you should at least fix it that well, because they're not that great coming from the factory. Alright, I'm going to put some corners in here that I made and see if I can't get some glue to hang it on. I'll get some tape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take that shim out just so I can get a piece of paper towel under there to catch the glue that's dripping on my vinyl, because I do not want to rip up the vinyl. And I'm going to take these corner pieces that I made, just like I said, out of a piece of like tomato steak, and I cut them and I'm going to put them in the corner to hold them even more so. Maybe I'll put a screw in them eventually, like this one is, but not supposed to be. And I'm going to be careful. See where the hinge comes in and may or may not meet the corner. See how that hinge has got a little hook on the very end? It's going to want to wrap around here, and I don't want my wood to be in the way of my hinge. So I'm making sure that my piece is, the corner piece is well below the hinge. And down here I'll put it above the hinge. So I've got my tomato steak. Now we'll put something on there. And I'm going to put it on two sides, hoping that I won't have to come back and screw it tomorrow. Alright. So here's my piece. Put that there. Oh, wait a minute. Until it dries enough to hold itself in place. Or I can take this tape and tape it up. That's what we're going to do. And just like that. And that'll hold it there till morning when it's all glued in place. And I'll do the same thing with this one up here. Okie doke, so here we are. What I could have done was waited to glue it to this side and then just use this piece to screw it over. But I'm not too hip on screwing into this stuff. So what I have is my corner piece glued both to here and to there. So this is a solid oak fascia, and this is the particle board inside. And since I glued it to keep it held together this way, there was still some play when I pushed up against there. And what I want is for it to be solid as can be, with the face glued into the cabinet. And I tried to tape it back and hold it with tape, but that's obviously not going to work. In the shop, you'd have this all taken apart and be clamped together. And I managed to, I didn't drive a nail, I more or less placed the nail in there to keep the center of it as close to being seated as possible. Now that's not moving with that little nail in there. And hopefully you'll never see that mark when I take that nail out of there, you know what I mean? That mark won't appear. So that's just holding the face against the rest of the box. And in the morning, we'll put this door back on. And we'll give this 24 hours to dry, see how it goes. And we'll put the door back on and it'll be good as day. So I'm confident enough that I put the bottom back in, and I'm just gonna pile all that under the sink junk back in there, and like I said, tomorrow we'll put it back. We'll put that screw back in. Bing, 2 screws, and we're good.